practice pulling guard. I want you guys to practice sweeping. I want you guys to practice coming up on top, passing, and looking for a finish after you've controlled position. That's the whole game. You're gonna pull guards, you're gonna sweep, you're gonna come up on top, you're gonna pass the guard, you're gonna get into a dominant position, wherever that may be, and you're gonna submit your opponent. It's just gonna be a drill. If anyone gets stuck along the way, that's fine. I want some people to get stuck, because we're gonna see the gaps in your knowledge that we need to add in new techniques and fill. You should soon, or even today, be able to complete your sequence from start to finish. And that's what we want to work towards. If you can't do that, that means you probably have, as I said, you're missing huge parts of the game. There's huge gaps in your knowledge. So the first drill that we're going to do before we get to that is I just want you guys to practice pulling guard. All right, we're just going to practice pulling guard. So I'm not going to get too involved in this right now and show you guys which guard pulls to use or anything. I want you guys to play around with your guard pulls yourself. You're going to go 1 for 1. You're going to pull guard. Your partner's going to pull guard. When you pull guard, I don't just want you to pull guard and just sit to your butt. I want you to connect to a guard. So what I mean by that is this. Look, can I borrow you, George? If I'm pulling guard, I don't just want to see people doing this or just doing this. I don't want to see any of this. If you're pulling guard, I want you guys to connect to the guard that you're planning on playing once you've pulled guard. So if you've got the blueprint, you'll see you pull guard to what? To go where? What are you pulling guard to do? Are you pulling guard to pull your opponent into close guard? So you can start looking for hip bump sweeps and scissor sweeps and pendulum sweeps. What are you pulling guard for? Are you just pulling guard because you're lazy and you just don't want to stand up? Well, then you're probably going to get your guard pass because you haven't got a plan. All right, so I want you guys to pull guard and connect to the guard that you're planning to play. If you just want to play close guard and that's all you got, that's fine. Pull guard, boom. Pull them in. Just get good at it. Just get good at your entries. That's all we're working on now, getting good. If you want to pull guard and go De La Heaver, that's fine. You might pull one. Your hair, you switch to De La Heaver. You might pull to collar sleeve. You might pull to like some variation of an X guard. Whatever it is, I don't mind. Just pull guard and connect it to a guard that you're using or you're planning to use. If you don't know, close guard is a safe option, and I'm going to walk around and give you guys a hand anyway. Cool? So guys, 1, 2, 1 for 1, guys. 1 for 1. I like to think of how you play your jiu-jitsu from stand-up is you have branches. You don't want to narrow yourself to saying, okay, I only do this, because if that doesn't work, then you're screwed. You need to have other options. So for everything that we do, there's 3 options minimum, especially on the document that we have, right, on the blueprint. There's 3 options. There's 3 options for a guard pull. There's 3 options for a takedown. I'm not saying that you should only have 3, but I'm saying you should have at least 3. So your sequence could look something like this. I might pull guard. I might play De La Heaver. You guys have probably seen this a few times. All right. So that's one of my sequences. I like to play deep De La Heaver. I like to sweep. I like to knee cut. I like knee on belly. I like the near side armbar as my finish. That's one. Maybe I do a similar thing. Maybe I pull guard again. Maybe this time I'm looking for a drop to your knees. Maybe this time I'm looking for a collar sleeve type sequence. Maybe I'm going to do a scissor sweep. Come up to mount. Get a cross choke and get a finish. Pull guard, gain some control with your guard, look for a sweep, come up on top, finish. All right? From top, it's very similar. I might do an ankle pick, boom. Might take my opponent down. Might pass with the same knee cut and execute exactly the same sequence that I did before. The only difference is I executed it from top. So my top game can look very similar to the same sequence that you do from the bottom as soon as you come up to the top. Do you know what I mean? The benefit of the takedown is that you get to skip the whole guard pulling phase. If you pull guard, there's a chance you might get your guard passed. Now you have to deal with the pressure of a top player putting weight on you, trying to get the pass. You haven't scored for pulling guard. You've got control, but the top player's on top. He has more room for error on top than you do. I usually think the person on top stays on top. If they can do that, they've got the best chance of winning the match. All right? So I want you guys to practice your sequences now. You're going to pull. You're going to get some control. You're going to look for a sweep. It could be you could pull to close guard. and do the same stuff we've been doing in the fundamentals. Pull guard, close guard, hip bump sweep, come up, finish. Pull guard, pendulum sweep. It's the same, nothing has to change. There's nothing too fancy or too scary. It's just the same stuff we've been working on, but now we're just figuring out how we put all of our stuff together. Makes sense? So we're gonna do one as guard, one on top, then we switch. We just keep going until I call time. Cool? Let's do it, guys. 1, 2. Maybe they nearly submitted you and you escaped the submission but ended up in close guard. But you're in close guard, down advantage. Cool? Everyone understand? All right, guys. Time's going on in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Time. Nice, guys. Awesome. So look, guys, I'm not expecting you guys to tell me the scores of your rounds, but I do expect you guys to keep track of what's going on in your rounds, all right? When you're rolling and you're sparring and you're doing these things, it's really important to not just lose track of everything and just go into this freestyle mode. You have to be a bit more strategic. You've got to be a bit more aware of when you're giving up points, when you're being swept. Staying on top. Sometimes I see people just falling off good positions. Stay on top, keep your position, win your points, all right? Nice, well done, guys. Nice, guys. I'll leave the mat open if you guys want to spar, do your thing. You're more than welcome to, guys.